session on SEO. Tejas and I, quick intro. Tejas and I worked together at Sepalika when we ran Sepalika as a content platform. And Tejas came in to head technology for us. But I figured that he had a huge interest in SEO, in digital marketing, in social media. And both Tejas and I were lucky that we were trained in SEO so we were at that time funded by Axel Partners. And one of the senior team members at Axel is a huge SEO expert, so much so that he actually holds a patent on some Google searches. And he trained us. He came over to our office in Mumbai and trained us in SEO. And I think we built a tremendous amount of learning. We took at peak time, we took Sepalika to about 500,000 unique visitors a month. Most of our visitors came from the US. But that from starting from scratch to 500,000 for a very serious disease oriented website was hugely creditable. So since then, Tejas has moved on to set up his own firm, helping brands and businesses set up either mobile apps, website apps, doing their SEO and some digital marketing work. So over to you, Tejas, to give the team an overview on SEO.
Sure. Thank you so much, Shada.
So in case anybody has any question in between that, that's not clear, please unmute yourself. But let's keep the larger questions to the end. Yeah, let's start, Tejas.
Sure. Okay. Good morning, everyone. So on the onset, I would like to tell you that today I'll be talking about basics of SEO, and these are going to range from a beginner's level to an advanced to a much more serious thing that we'll try to cover as much as possible, all the jargons that you'll hear from an SEO expert that are thrown out, because I wasn't, like Shada mentioned, I came in from an IT perspective, but I wasn't an expert in SEO. But I learned it from scratch, and all the sharings that I'm doing right now with you guys is what I've learned while working, and these are things which actually work. And why it worked and why doesn't it work for everybody? Everybody's doing SEO today. And why it doesn't work? So we'll be going into those nits and basics. So one thing which we all know is the SEO stands for search engine optimization. But more than just the search engine optimization part, it's the practice of increasing the quality as well as the quantity of website traffic that we want. We don't want anybody coming onto it. We don't want spams coming onto our website. We want actual people coming and then doing certain purchase from us or reading content that we have written for them. And this type of the traffic that we get is we term it as organic, and these are the terms that we look out for. So SEO is as much about people as it's about search engines. Generally, what an SEO guy or any website person would push for is going to be that we need to do it for SEO. We need to do it for SEO. That's the first mistake. Keep the audience in mind. Do it for the people. It's a niche people that we are doing for, or any niche audience that we're looking for. Think about them, write for them, and keeping them in mind once you have all your things set up, like even as good as a shop that you're doing through. Put yourself into the place of the audience and then design everything around it. So knowing your audience intent is the most important part today, but that's just one side. The other side of SEO is delivering it, the way the search engine crawlers can find it. So we have to find a good balance between the two. We have to make things so that Google or Bing or any of the search engines that are going to come out tomorrow, because Apple is also planning to have its own search engine. It's in place. We already have Siri, which does some amount of crawling with the AI base that is there. But AI is going to be the future ahead, and AI is looking for intent. And I'll be going in depth as we go ahead, but that's the two sides that we have to balance about. So why is SEO important? So search engines do discovering and cataloging, and this began in the early days with Yahoo and then with Ask, and many other players were there around. But what Google does the best is it does crawling and indexing of all the things that are available on the internet for the user and ranks them according to what best matches to their query or the thing that they're looking out for. And it does it using what we call it as SERP. So this SERP is what is referred to as the search engine result pages, are filled with both advertising as well as dynamic organic results format. So it's a mixture of the two, and that's how it makes money. And out of the organic search, even if you're putting, so then that's where the balance is. Like, I can put an ad on Google through Google AdWords and rank on top for a particular keyword. I can pay for it. Why do I pay an SEO guy? Is this that around 2 point or nearly 3% of the people will only click on the paid ads. You're not going to have all the traffic coming in. People genuinely go for the first 10 pages that come out. So 10 links that come out on the very first page. So generally you have to rank up to the first page or on the second page. If you're ranking anywhere beyond that, then you'll have very less traffic or close to zero in a way. So it's always the first page which takes away most of the chunk of the traffic that comes in. And even if you're doing an advertisement, it would be very less. It's close to 3 to 4% that way. And the SEO efforts that we do, it's actually 20 times more traffic opportunity than a paid per click kind of a thing that you would do either on mobile or desktop, like whenever we are doing some research. So what we mean by this search engine page results or SERPs is, for an example, if I'm searching for office chair near me, so what I'll find are going to be combination of the two. Usually on the top or on the right hand side, I'll see all the advertisements that are there, which are basically sponsored, or it's a shopping list that can open up. And at the same time, it will also open up Google Places, Google Maps. All these are different services of Google, but it tries to put in through. And recently, it's also started doing YouTube videos. You'll find them inserted inside. You'll find images over there as well, being inside this very single same page, depending upon what the intent or what you're looking out for. And that will be going in depth as we move ahead. So that brings us to what are the types of SEO? Like, if I want to do an SEO today, what should be the approach to choose? So there are basically 4 types of SEO which are there in existence. So as Google is looking for certain guidelines that it has set out that people should maintain. So you'll generally come across some types of these SEO experts who will call themselves as black hat SEO or black hat techniques. So these are basically going against this Google guidelines to get or basically hack or cheat to be on top. And if you're following all the Google guidelines which are there, which are laid out by the Google's webmaster tool and all their guidelines, then we call them as white hat SEO. And there's some mixture of the two, which is called as gray hat SEO. And the fourth one is what is called as negative SEO. So negative SEO is wherein I'll do SEO techniques which are going to harm the other brand or bring them down so that I can rank higher than them. So these are the 4 basic ones which are there. And to give you an idea about what works and what doesn't work, I've just color coded and have this slide in front. So if you take the time into perspective, white hat SEO going by the Google guidelines takes the longest to give you result. It's going to be very longest time. It's going to take the highest amount of time. Using black hat techniques, you can get them much quickly. But remember, the risk is higher because the moment Google finds out, or Google keeps on changing its algorithm, and it changes as much as thousands of times in a year. And I'll get the figures that have happened. And in 2019, it was close to 3,000 changes in the Google algorithm. So it tries to recorrect itself so that the Google search results are not spammed. They have quality. They have the intent that the user looks for. And the third part is the cost part of it. Then definitely, yes, the white hat is going to cost you more because you'll have to bring up backlinks. You'll have to do efforts in writing the content. Everything has to be laid out. The images have to be unique. There are a lot of conditions within them. And like Shada said, we first had to do it for the healthcare sector. So healthcare and finance, these are 2 categories that are most highly scrutinized and much more tighter for not everybody can come in. So there's a concept known as EAT score, which is basically how much expert you are in a particular domain. So you need to bring in experts into your content. So if you're working in finance or healthcare, you need to have people who have credible, authoritative kind of figures, doctors, and them writing content for you. So the cost becomes higher. You don't have anybody who's, you can freelance, and that content will not have value. Those authors would start playing into context. So there are many other factors apart from this, which makes white hat a very expensive thing to do. But in the long run, it's the most challenging and the most rewarding part that you will ever have, because once you do the SEO right, it's made for life. As long as you keep on giving the basic things right, and just tweaking the updates of the website, the page would be there on the first page if it's ranked on the first, and the traffic will keep on flowing for you, free of cost, forever. That's the other part later, which SEO does for you. So coming to what are the things that you need to do in SEO. So you'll hear these two terms, on page and off page. So on page is basically things like title tags, the meta tags, the meta description, headings, the H1, H2, which we term them as, or the heading 1, heading 2, and all that. And then we break them into paragraphs. It could be bullets that we have. Then we have images, URLs, internal and outgoing links, so that you have to link within the website. All those things have to be in order as well. And the off-page SEO means all the hyperlinks that are coming from external website. So it's basically a factor of how good your brand or how good your website is doing in the external domain, which is not inside your website domain. So it could be an unlinked mention about your company, or what is how good your website is being linked on different social media sites, how many times it's being done. So all these are different scores that are looked into. It can also be a website forum or a Q&A site like Quora, and all the other websites that are there, which are catering to question and answers kind of format. So if you're answering something that this is what we do and this is the best page to buy something, these things can work out positively for you. But these are very things that are outside your website. So that's the basic thing. So on-page SEO is what you can do on your website, and off-page SEO is what you need to do outside your website domain. Now, coming to the major hero of the whole thing is the Google's algorithm, because Google has got close to 90 to 95% of the organic search today. And what Google does the best is that it does a collection of all the things that are basically on the web, which includes PPTs, PDFs, images, places information, business information, contact information, and then it has an algorithm which basically categorizes it, which has all those different ways in which it can be treated, which we'll go to as the intent part. We'll cover it up. But the goal of Google is that it gives you the best result possible and quickly as much as possible. So to maintain this, Google basically is earning dollars in huge revenue. Part is coming from these ads revenue, which is there. So it's quality results that they have to do. But to maintain that, they keep on doing these algorithmic updates, which we'll keep on hearing. So in 2018, when I was working, there were as many as 3,234 algorithmic updates. So these are going to be ranging from small updates to some larger ones, which are disruptive as well, to an extent that some people, especially in healthcare and finance, had faced in 2018, was their entire traffic was cut by 60%. So imagine being 500,000 or 1 million, then straight away going to half of it and less than half of it. So 40% of the traffic was only coming through. So these are the things that Google keeps on doing, because it tries to see what is relevant for the user, how it can generate ads, revenue as well. So it has to play both the sides, and also keep the hackers and the black hat SEO guys also away from damaging the reputation of the good and the people who are following all the guidelines laid down by Google. So Google has basically a dedicated web spam team that works towards it. So many of you must have witnessed, whenever you're searching certain Google websites, you try to open up a link and it takes you to some completely different website. And so basically these are people who are hacking certain algorithms, or in the recent updates also, you must have seen that when you open up a website, you see the links are there, and the moment you're trying to click on it, there's an ad which pops up and blocks you from clicking on it. So these are the kind of indicators that Google looks into a website, how the website is behaving with the user. It takes those data in, and then starts punishing those websites. It starts damaging those websites' reputation, and then it ranks it lower or even completely removes it from the search indexing part. So you can be penalized up to that level that your website can be not indexed at all on Google. So you have to follow all the guidelines of the SEO which are laid out, and if you keep on doing them very well, you are rewarded with higher ranks. And if not, then the website spam team would take the entire website or those particular pages down. So coming to the main part, which is called as search intent. So search intent is basically divided into three categories. And the first one is, what it tries to do is it tries to see what the user is looking for. So the first one is where you have one dominant intent. So the user is coming with one intention, which could be to purchase an office chair, like we saw earlier. So the intent is very clear. I'm looking for an office chair. I'm trying to purchase the office. So the intent is to buy something, is to buy that chair. And then I could write very specifically also that I want to buy a black chair. So, or I want to buy a white color chair. So these are very specific intent and single intent ones. And then there are some search terms which refer to multiple entities which could be there. And I'll give some examples on the next slide. And the third type is which do not have any dominant intent at all. And these get affected by location and even by the gender of a person. Like if I'm looking for some clothes, I write black dress, it will show me something which is very much for me. For example, if a lady is searching for black dress, they will show all the relevant ads as well as the relevant website based upon the location where you are. So it will show you Myntra on top if you're there in India. If you're there abroad, it will show you that particular website, which would be preferably for your location, delivering at your place, and is more relevant to you. So this is an example of one single intent and the geographical location bifurcation part of it. The second example is like symptoms of diabetes. This is what we also ranked and we had to play around with. But you can see how Google is trying to give you data, and there's a difference between the two. The first one that we saw, the intent was more towards buy. So the whole search engine or page, which you can see, the layout is different. The ads are showing up. But when it's in healthcare part, there are no ads which are possible. There's always restriction on putting ads on health and finance related things in the current scenario. So you'll see on the right hand side, you'll see the diabetes symptoms. These are the diabetes types. So even if I've tried to search for symptoms of diabetes, Google is taking the intent that I'm interested in diabetes. So it starts explaining me, these are the types of diabetes as well. So you'll see the common types of diabetes, the early signs of diabetes, and all those things. And it also gives you the bullet points part. So these bullet points are coming from the content, and inside the content, it's hidden deep inside. And it could be a list, it could be header tags which are there. It just shows them in bullet format. So Google is indexing these things today. And in 2020, Google has started doing one more new thing, which is indexing paragraphs. So it understands which paragraph can best answer this particular question, and it will highlight that paragraph into this SERP result on top.
Sorry, just want to pause here, Tejas. Being able to get featured here, this is called a featured snippet, and you can see it's from diabetes.org. Being able to get featured here is a big, big bonus. It's decided by Google. I know we did it a couple of times at Sepalika, but if you can crack this, you've really cracked traffic on your website.
Yeah, so this is like even before you go to the link, you have answered it on top. So Google takes this content also into picture. So people who are more interested would click on the very first link itself. So this thing started in 2018, and now it's much more relevant today everywhere that we see. So let me give you a context wherein the intent is not clear. It can have multiple intents. The second type of intent, which we're talking about. So when we talk about Mirzapur, so this is a very relevant search. The Mirzapur launched a week back. So when we are searching for it, Mirzapur is actually a place somewhere in UP. And you can see that it's now gone to the very bottom or the third result that comes out. So even though, since people are today looking out for Mirzapur as a TV series, it starts ranking that higher as compared to the Mirzapur Wikipedia or the location page or the Google Maps page of that particular area. So there's an intent part which happens through, which it looks for. And second example for this is Mercury. So Mercury is a generic word which could be, I want to name my brand as Mercury, for example. If I do that, then I'll have to compete against the NASA website. I'll be competing against the Wikipedia page of Mercury. And remember, Mercury is also an element. So people have written articles and things about Mercury. So you'll see those things coming in the bottom as well. So Mercury is just one single word, but it will have different intent. If Mercury is the planet, then it will start showing planet. Mercury, the element, it will start talking and showing me about the Mercury element. And if it's Mercury, a company name that I'm looking for, let's say a Mercury brand, then it will start showing me that. That would be the exact intent. But since Google is not sure what the user is looking for, it shows the most users what they're looking for. It looks at the whole data that Google has, that majority of the people are looking for the Mercury as a planet. So it starts showing that out top. There are two different ways in which you can understand what the Google intent is and how it ranks and how we can master it also. So there's a third type, which is like the intent is not clear about the user. So treehouse, we all have a treehouse nursery around our place. So this thing is geographically based. Results will show up. So even if you do it right now, it will show you all the nursery play groups which are there of treehouse, and this is different based upon your location. So if like the ma'am who is there in Dubai, if she tries to search for treehouse, the results are going to be completely different from this particular page that we are seeing. So there's a treehouse IT company as well, it shows up. And what I mean by different results is Google also understands and it gives you a longer page. It doesn't give you half a page or just 10 results. It starts giving you 30, 40 results based upon the keyword that you're doing. So the first page itself is showing you, first thing it shows you is relevant thing that it thinks that people are looking for, the treehouse play group. But if I'm not happy, I just scroll down. The second result that it shows me is not the second link for a play group, but it starts showing me the treehouse, the actual treehouse, which could be there. It starts showing me images of treehouse. It'll tell you how much treehouse per month, is treehouse a tech degree worth. So there are different questions that people have on that particular single treehouse worth. It starts showing me that. And if I scroll down even further, then it starts showing me videos of the treehouse. And not just videos of treehouse, it starts showing me what people are looking for inside the treehouse keywords. It could be a build tutorial, it can be the 8 tree houses best out of this world kind of thing that people are generally inquisitive or tend to go for. So that's the larger part of finding this keyword and key terms and all those things. So that brings us to how do we write content and how do we start ranking for SEO and all. So to do that, what we do is first is we need to choose the keyword and the key phrase properly. Keep in mind that you are doing an SEO for your website or for your brand or particularly for your product. So if I do the brand search, what we call it as, if I put the name of the brand inside my search keyword, then it will only rank with that particular keyword. I need to keep that branding part out. So whenever we, for example, if we have to rank for symptoms of diabetes, the symptoms of diabetes would be my keywords or key phrase, which we'll call it. So I'll have to look at and keep focusing on that. And there's a research tool that you can use to do this. So there's this website. I'll just quickly show you that. So let's say if I'm looking for a disease which is like PCOS. So what this website does very beautifully is it goes into the Google data and tries to find out what are the relevant types of questions which people are asking for. So you can see PCOS. So PCOS, what it can. So all the can words or questions which are there are all clubbed together. Can PCOS go away? Can PCOS be reversed? Can PCOS give me early menopause and things like that? Then the which type of questions are there? So this is a starting point. I've decided upon my key phrase or the key term or key word that I want to rank for. Then I look at what people are looking out for. And this intent circle helps me out to build a content. then you start answering these questions and make sure that you answer these questions within your articles, within your set of blogs that you're writing in, or your product description page has those particular things in place. So that's doing research for that particular information. Then you need to make it into paragraph and an answer format. Remember, it always works the best. So the first sentence that you're writing should answer or should be about the keyword that you have chosen. Don't be off topic. Don't start with a story once upon a time somewhere else like that. If you're going to be talking about one particular object, keep that object in mind and start with that object from the very set go. So if it's PCOS that I'm starting, the very first word and the very first sentence will have PCO in it. Don't keep it after in the second line, second sentence, or the second paragraph. Put it in the very first paragraph. And then if you're doing a question answer kind of a thing, then answer it in the very first paragraph and say the explanation is given below, because Google tries to and has seen over the period of time that the articles and blogs which have this kind of format, that they answer the question that people are looking for. For example, like, can banana give me acidity? Like, this is a question. And if I write in the very first sentence, yeah, banana can give you acidity if so and so conditions are there. Let's look at other factors which affect. And then you start explaining all the things that you want to write about and have your creative freedom. But for SEO part, just do this part, the first sentence and the answer paragraph. In the very first paragraph itself, answer that particular question. Then you start dividing or structuring your content into 3 to 5 subheadings. And then you start filling in those content, explaining those subheadings. So subheadings can be those questions that we have seen earlier on, coming from Ask the People website. You can take that as a starting point for your subheadings, or you can create them on your own based upon what content you're writing. And then fill full width images at the top. Remember, images work very well. A picture can say 1,000 words. So your pictures have to be very expressive about them. And if possible, this is another part, is basically try to have text in your images also. Because today what Google does is to see or basically penalize someone if they are doing some pop-up ads and things that are blocking the content. You must have seen certain news websites, they do that. They'll only show you the very first paragraph. The rest of the thing, it's a payment blog or something like that. But on Google, you can read the entire part of it. But the moment you go onto their website, you see that it's blocked. Same thing happens with Quora also. That's the reason why they show you the first result feed. The second thing, you need to have an account, and only then you can see. So Google tries to see and penalize those kind of things. So what it does today is it takes an entire screenshot of the website, how the website is looking on a mobile screen, how it looks on a tablet, how it looks on a desktop. Is there any difference between the content that the users are doing? There has to be the same content has to be seen on all the three sides. There shouldn't be anything which is seen blocking the content. And it does the screenshot of those pages, and then it converts the image into text, and then it starts reading. So today it's looking into that kind of algorithmic changes. It's no longer taking in text as it is through the code. It's also doing this type of thing. So if your images have text in it, it will rank much better. Google is indexing images according to the colors that are there inside those images. You must have seen when you're doing image search. So it indexes them. So make sure you use this particular feature also, which is have text in your images. Then develop alt tags for these images. So alt tags are basically, initially the intent was if the website should be meant for all. So even disabled people should be able to navigate freely and roam and go from one site to another and get information very freely. So all these images have alt tags, and they are very important. The alt tag should have, again, the very same keyword or the main intent that you want to serve towards. So have the alt tags mention those. And these alt tags are basically shown if the image is not loading. So you would have that over there in place. But Google uses that in images. Then increase the internal and external links. So what Google also look at is how good your website is doing on the social media platforms. Is it being shared? If it's being shared the most, then Google sees that, yeah, this is what people are interested towards. So there's also a share score which is there in Google. So make your content as easily shareable as possible from anywhere on the screen. It should be easily possible to do that. And the second part is it should basically be like a trap for the user. You must have seen whenever we open up Facebook, or we start going through different things on Facebook, we just, or YouTube as well, we watch one video and then we have another video. We get into the trap of being on the very same website and spending more time on it. So Google takes that into account, how much amount the user is spending time on your website within your own network. So make sure you have that. And external links are towards who, if you have any quality sites that you want to share, or you want to share from where you have got this particular content or this particular research that you did, which places did you research from? So you need to write those external links. So they add in credibility towards your site also.
Tejas, can you just pause for half a second? Somebody's asked a question, how do you do alt tag? Okay.
Okay.
I'll
So,
just show the back end of Sepalika.
sure.
Yeah. I'll just pause your screen sharing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now this is an article. I'm just going to scroll up. It says it's an article which says a complete list of menopause symptoms. This is how the article looks on the website. So you can see this is the front end of the website. So it tells you what it is: irregular periods, hot flashes. Tejas said, remember the opening paragraph, you need to talk about menopause. And then I also tell them what happens during menopause. Now, alt tags, let me just go to one of the images that I have here. So you can see an image. Bloating is what I'm actually referring to. So when I go to the back end, this website is on WordPress. So this is how it looks. Can you see on the right-hand side, I have added the, sorry, let me just do alt tags. So I've referred to hormones, insomnia, menopause, weight gain, hot flashes, symptoms of menopause. So you add relevant.
That is a tag. Just scroll down, Shada, where the image of bloating is on the content.
Ah, okay.
Just scroll down where the image of bloating. Yeah.
उसी का लिया मैंने.
Double click on this image. You should see the alt tag part that we have done. Just double click on it. It should show up.
I did double click.
Okay. Or else you can click on that image icon.
That's what I did, and I hit the alt tag here.
We can see the image setting. Wait. Shada, wait. It's already there. See on the right-hand side where the style and image setting is there. We don't have an alt tag for this. You haven't put an alt tag. You can see second part, image settings on the right. Below the slides. Yeah. So that's where you have alt tags to be there. So you have alternative text written. Just scroll up. You can see alternative text. So we don't have an alt tag for this. So just click and write bloating PCOS. This image will start ranking for it. Menopause. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. An update.
So in a WordPress document, you have, if your website is on WordPress, you can go at the back end and do all of this, or you can go at the bottom. And I don't know, Tejas, you'll come to meta tags and descriptions later.
Yeah, those will be, look into detail if anybody wants to understand them, because I'm not going into WordPress because I don't know what technology each one of you are using on your website. So there's React.js, there's Python, people build it in that. People are using other platforms also. Some people write in custom HTML also.
Yeah.
So irrespective of these are the basic things that you need to talk with your technical person who's there, or tech lead who's there.
Yeah, but if you're on WordPress, this is how it happens, right? You can write your SEO title, you can write the description, and you can write what your keyword is, and then there is a tool that will tell you if there is an issue which is sitting in your keyword. You can choose not to address it or address it.
Right. Okay. I'll start the screen share again. Okay. So that's the page part. So there's one more thing that you'll come across. I'll quickly do these parts and then we'll go into the actual backend of WordPress and try to explain those things also. So you'll come across this particular term if you're working along with an SEO agency or anybody. They'll talk about DA and PA and things like that. So DA is basically domain authority, and this is what there's a website called as moz.com. It's not given by Google. Remember that the domain authority range is actually not given by Google. It's a website which is trying to help us out to understand how Google works. So what the domain authority score does is it gives you a score from 1 to 100, 100 being higher. So let's say if I do like symptoms of PCOS or anything, so you'll always find WebMD and some headline, these top guys always on the front page in all those results. That is because of their domain authority being higher, that they are health related. They're always talking about health related subjects. They give you some symptoms. They can connect you with doctors, things like that, which would be relevant for that particular keyword. So that keyword is defining the domain authority for that particular, how safe the website is. There's also people look for that, green symbol on top, which says with a lock, which says that the site is secure. So you can do your transactions on it. And the moment you see a striked off kind of website, or you are seeing a website or you are entering a website which is no longer safe, that kind of board, then you want to stay away. So these are the kind of scores which are taken into context. So DA is what we call it as domain authority. And for pages, because Google is not indexing websites, it's actually indexing search results for pages. So here comes into the picture is the page authority. So page authority is very relevant. You can go to moz.com and do this for free also. You can put in your link over there and it will tell you how well your page does for a particular keyword from 1 to 100 on a scale, and 100 again being higher. So page authority versus domain authority is basically page authority is more predictive in nature. It will tell you whether you'll rank there or not. Domain authorities, if you have a domain authority, let's say in health, then any page that you do is going to have that add-on factor, since you're already talking about in health. So if you are ranking for, let's say, shoes as a category, then you will see what's your domain authority in shoes, how your page ranks on shoes. And then the page authority would be black shoes, or black high heel shoes is what the page authority would be measured against the other websites which are trying to rank for that very same keyword. So these tools, they help you out and give you predictive index numbers, and then you can do changes to your website content, and the page authority thing would change quickly on the Moz. But for Google to see that result would be another 2 days, or it can also be as much as 2 months. So it's always that's a factor, but I have been able to get my results done within 2 days to 3 days. Whenever the website is new, remember domain authority comes into picture, because you're a new website, new content you're building, and Google doesn't know who you are, what you're writing about, what your domain name is, and what your contents are. It doesn't have match for the two yet. So it starts indexing you and starts giving you domain authority. So once it understands that, yes, you are a person who writes only about education content, so it will rank you higher for any articles that you have written on education within that. So to do this properly, we have a process known as SEO Audit, which we have to do, like the website that we have opened up in WordPress. We would go into the backend, we would see if things are in proper place or not. But before we do that, you should always start with a goal for the website. So the goal is what the direction the company wants to go, or what is the brand that it's trying to promote itself, or what's the end result. We take that first, and then we start building towards it. And then we have content, which we call it as funneling towards that particular content. So for example, you have to have SEO strategies which are based upon smart concept. I'll come to that smart principle a bit. But this is what the goal has to be. For example, Sepalika will increase its organic search visibility by 50% within the next 6 months. So this is a goal that you need to have. And this is my first goal that I'm starting off with. The organic search results should increase by 50%. It should be very direct, very clear, and a time-bound effort. Don't keep it open-ended, that I'll do it tomorrow or it will happen next week. It should be realistic also. A new website will at least take 2 to 6 months to start showing up into the Google search results, because Google is going to check whether the website came, whether content was there, it indexed it, and you have changed the website overnight. You change the entire look and feel. So for example, if it's a Mango website, so Mango is basically a brand which is selling clothes, but it's not relevant to Alfonso mangoes or the fruit, mango the fruit. So it takes some time for Google to context what is the website about and index it. And then once it does, the domain authority part is there in place, then it starts pushing those pages up. But you need to have a goal for the SEO. Don't go it blank that I'll see how it happens or we'll do everything that are there in place. It doesn't work that way. Have a specific goal. And then the SEO needs to have these A to Z things. So first we'll do an SEO audit. What is the goal? How do we reach them? What are the keywords that we need to do? Then we look into all the uncovered issues which could be there, which could be technical as well as which could be in the content, the way we have written it. So when we started off, most of the articles were from a third person point of view. So we started to realize that, yeah, people tend to react much better, and Google is also indexing pages that are writing towards the user in a much more friendlier sitting kind of a format, which is what we call it as the normal language, or basically the human language which is there. So it starts indexing things according to human language, rather than doing in a textbook format or a bookish format. It tries to go more conversational. So Google ranks conversational contents higher as compared to a book kind of a format. Yes, for a research oriented kind of a thing, it would put those things higher. But whenever you are looking for any SEO part of thing, if you do conversational, and it's always better. Then it also analyzes the competitors. So we would do an competitors analysis. We'll look at what keywords are ranking, what keywords they are targeting. We'll look at content ideas from them. So basically what we tend to do is try to answer all the questions which are there for a particular topic on our website over a period of time. And we also look at link opportunities, whether I can link to my competitors thing also, because if I do that, then tomorrow the competitor starts realizing that this website is sending also traffic to me, and they start taking note of us. And Google also understands that, yeah, these two websites are together, so maybe we are ranking together all the time. Also, that is also a possibility. Then develop an SEO content strategy. So your content has to have a funnel kind of a thing that we talk about. So funneling is basically, if I want to sell, let's say Alfonso mangoes, for example. So my content strategy is going to be everything about Alfonso mangoes. It should end towards a buy kind of an intake. I'm making a website wherein people should purchase mangoes. So that will be the end goal of my SEO part. But I'll start by writing about what is Alfonso mangoes, what is the history of Alfonso mangoes, or different kinds of recipes of Alfonso mangoes that you can do, different ice creams that you can make with it, the combinations of weird ice creams that I can do with it, milkmaid, mango, and all those things I'll mix. I'll try to write about how you can make fruit salads with mangoes, what combinations work out the best, how to cut a mango, how to eat a mango. I'll write everything about those things and then funnel them out. The end part should always be the by intent towards the last. But all these are going to be my SEO content strategies. Then you execute them. So you will optimize your UI UX. So the readability should be there. It shouldn't be that I open up the website on a mobile screen and all I see is just the title part of it. I don't even see the image. Everything I have to scroll 2-3 times and then I land to the actual content. So these are the websites that are not optimized for mobile. So you need to optimize them. Then you acquire backlinks. You do it on different websites and answer questions online and all as well. Shada, do also keep track of the time. I don't want to. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So we still have some other things like this strategic objective of the SEO campaign. Like I told you, the SMART principle, which is there. So the SMART principle is very important. You need to be specific about what your SEO campaign is. Don't choose 500 keywords. Don't choose, you'll write about everything that is there under the, or open up a dictionary and start putting everything inside it that I'll rank for them. It doesn't work. Choose only 10 or 20, start with those handful keywords, then move on to others and keep it building. And also remember, there's also budget and resource. Keep that in mind. Don't go overboard that I'll rank for 50 and you find out that the number of articles to be written are higher or the products aren't there. So if there are only 2 products, keep that as a keyword.
Tejas, someone wants you to go back to the previous slide.
Sure. Yeah. So these I'll be covering further ahead. Like how do we do that SEO audit part technically? I'm going in depth. And if time permits, not today, but maybe we could have one more session, a second part of this, wherein I can go much more technical if anybody needs like hands-on thing. We could open up WordPress and things like that. That could be another session that I can do it in much depth. But in Q&A, I can cover if possible if they have any questions.
So there was a question on long tail keywords. What's a long tail keyword? Sanjana, in your context, because you run a senior citizen services,
right.
One keyword could be senior citizen services, but it's going to be very hard for you to rank because you're likely to be up against Portia.
Lots of stuff. Yeah.
Because they will outrank you on senior citizen services.
Correct.
You may say a long tail keyword will be customized delivery of home delivery of medicines for senior citizens. It's easier for you to rank on a longer tail keyword like that, although it will have a lesser volume, search volume, compared to senior citizen services. But it's impossible to compete there. So then pick longer terms, and what is a long tail keyword? Basically, you have to start thinking of how is it that people are asking questions? How are they going to be typing into the search bar of Google? And you say, okay, home delivery or customized home delivery of medicines for senior citizens is a relevant term. It has far lesser volume than senior citizen services. However, your probability of success there is greater because you're going to be hit by Portia on the big one. On the short keyword, it's very difficult to.
So you're saying basically more specific phrases, which don't kind of overlap with the biggies, right?
Yes.
So I'll get less volume, but it'll be more targeted, to people who are looking for what I'm offering, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay, along with that, remember I told you there are 3 types of intent which are there.
Yeah.
Long tail intent tries to clear out all the misconception which could be there around that keyword. So if you're doing senior citizen medical services that you want to do, also add the location and the place.
I was going to say that add location maybe.
Those location maybe. You try to target. In your article, you write these are the locations which we serve. Got it. And then your articles or those particular things become more relevant and indexed locally. Localization is also very important, Google. So
got it. Thank you.
Long tail keyword. Yeah. Sure. So coming to what the SMART principle starts off, first one was be specific with your keywords and remember budgets and resource, because every keyword you need to have backwards linking and all those. It's a painstaking process. It's a longer process that you need to do with your time and resources for articles to be written in. It also needs to be measurable. So you need to not just keep on doing it, but you need to also look at what are the keyword performance metrics to be in place. So you do that using Google Analytics, and there's also one more new tool which has come out known as Clarity by Microsoft. So it's still in in the early stages, but that could also help you. One single dashboard that tells you how your website is doing, which keywords you're ranking for, what is the traffic that's coming in. So you need to also keep on measuring that. So one tool for measuring which we use generally is what we call it as the Search Console. Google Search Console, we call that as Search Console. So Google Search Console tells me how a website is performing, which pages it ranks for, if it has any issues on the website and all. And we look at how the traffic is coming. So we look at performance, how the website is performing. So how many clicks are there, how many total impressions are going in. You can see that. So let me give you an example of the other website. So Lal Bagh Cha Raja. So generally during the time of Ganpati festival, it peaks up and the pages are coming in. So what are the queries that people are looking out for? Impressions is how many people saw my link on Google and didn't click. And clicks are actual clicks that have happened on this particular keyword that people have done. So you have to have measurable indexes in place. And you look at which pages are performing better and worse. And let's say I go for this home page. So which are the keywords that it's ranking for? So queries will show up over here that are there in place, what people are looking out for, 2020 live and all those versions that people did this year. And it's time bound also. So you can change for last 3 months, or you want to do for 16 months, or you want to do it for the time period in years, and you'll see how the website performs, and then you know that yeah, this is when it peaks, organic traffic is coming in, then I can design more content towards that. So you can take much more better decisions based upon if you're measuring them properly. So always use these tools which are available. Google Analytics gives you how it's performing from other indexes. Google Search Engines tells you how your keywords are performing actually. And yeah, it also gives you position. I forgot to show you position over here. So you can put your average position in. So you would see which position this particular keyword ranks in for. So for Lal Bagh Raja, my page is coming on 6th because today, if anybody does this search, there's also YouTube part. There's also images that will show up. There'll also be other articles written about it. Those things would show up, but my website would come out as the 6th position, even though it's the most relevant thing. So this is just a way of how you can predict or you can measure how well it's doing. And the other part is compare it. Always do comparison part. So let's say I compare 3 months over 1 year and things like that. So it'll tell me how well my website has performed for that keyword in comparison to last year and this year. So I'll just look at the position part. So where it did last year and this year, where has it moved around? If it's not moving, then it's always a good sign. And if certain websites like this wasn't in existence, 2020 live darshan was not a keyword relevant, so we never ranked for it, and there wasn't any clicks that have happened. So position changes according to what the queries are and keeps on moving around up and down. So you also measure them. So certain actions that you do in your content or your SEO strategies might actually cost you, but you need to know where the damage happened. The third part is attainability. Look at realistic goals. So if your website domain and your content are there within a particular page, don't go beyond it. Don't try to compete with the big giants around. Try to create the long-term keywords that should be there and have realistic attainable targets. Then the fifth part is relevant part. Remember, that is most important whenever you're doing keyword part. So if I have a blog which is intent is about selling mangoes and I write about apple, sure, it's still a little bit relevant towards it. But if I start writing about gold or if I start writing about Mercury planet, then relevancy of my page for that particular domain and everything loses out, and it's not a good SEO strategy to have. All your content should be towards that single SEO goal and more funneling kind of keywords which are in and around a particular topic. So have relevant keywords in place and have time bound things. So this is very important because in certain cases, if you fix up a time and if it's not working, it's fine. Accept it. Yeah, this strategy didn't work. Move on to a new strategy or move on to a new keyword. Don't keep on pushing too much for only one single keyword. There could be much more opportunities that are there lying around, which can help you attain your goal or change your goal. It shouldn't be there always. And generally try to measure it so you know whether you're reaching towards it or not.
Tejas, we'll have another 5 minutes, and then are you okay? Then we can open it up for Q&A.
Sure. We can open it up for Q&A as well. So here I'll just go quickly through all the ways in which you can do competitor analysis, technical analysis, and all that. So we talk about competitor analysis. There's a Moz plugin which you can put into your Chrome browser or your Safari browser, and then you can have this kind of indexing showing below the links itself. So it'll tell you what's the page authority and what's the domain authority. So domain authority is how good the domain on Quick Sprouts can rank for a particular keyword, and page authority is how relevant it is to the search which was made. So the higher ones which have higher domain authority and page authority will be on top as compared to the lower ones. So this indexing helps. And page authority is what it uses to rank those particular pages all the time.
Shalini, how to do this? Moz. You can install it for whether you're on Safari or Chrome, whatever your browser.
Yeah.
And if you're the admin person at the back end, it will tell you for each of your for your websites, where is, or for your competitive websites, what is the page authority, the domain authority, what links they have.
So this extension is also available is through Moz itself.
Yes.
Yes. You'll get it from Moz. So Moz is like an independent, or basically it's a commercial outing which is there, moz.com. So what they do is they give you a lot of SEO tools and SEO resources. They're not affiliated to Google, but they always keep a track on Google. So this is one. The other one is SEMrush, which also does it, but Moz does it good work in terms of ranking things and all, but it's very expensive to maintain also. I can just quickly show you the pricing part of it, but later we can do that later.
Yeah.
So just run quickly with the other parts. So the other part which comes in is technical analysis. Like how do we do technical analysis part? So for technical analysis, the certain parameters are there. How quickly does your website load? If your website is taking more than 4 seconds, it's always a bad thing to have in today's world. And there's also metrics that you can do. So there's Google speed test tool. There is ping.com. There are GT metrics. So there are multiple websites that you can go for. And there you can test the website loading speed. And even if you just Google website website load speed, you'll see different websites which are providing this service. Then the second part, which is very important today, 80 to 85% of the website traffic is going to be mobile based. So you need to be mobile friendly as much as possible. Then is there keyword cannibalization? This is one of the biggest thing that we all fall victim to. So let's say I've written multiple articles on a particular page or a particular topic, then which one would rank up higher for that thing? So we have had this issues, like one of the Q&A pages was actually ranking way higher for that particular keyword as compared to the other website pages which were also in place. So I'll need to look at if are the keywords being cannibalized. That is, I've written 10 articles on symptoms of PCOS, symptoms of diabetes, symptoms of other things, and which one is ranking for that particular keyword, symptoms in women kind of thing. There could be a keyword cannibalization. So we do that in technical thing. And then we look at redirect issues. Certain times you change the links or you change categories and then the page moves on to a different link, and that can have redirection issues in place. So generally we use soft redirects, which are known as 302 redirect. So these are known as temporary change, or you can have redirect chains, which are there at times happen. Like you move one website page link changed to another, then that link changed to another. So Google is keeping track of all these indexes because it still needs to rank that particular article and your page on top. So it's a hard-earned ranking effort that we get in the end for ranking one page. So the moment you change the domain or you change a directory or you change the category part of a particular page, then it's a huge loss. So you need to have redirect chains, and if there are too many redirect chains, then that is also not good. So we look at what are the different ways of redirecting being used. We do a technical analysis of that. Then is there a non-secure version is redirecting or not? So this is very important. So if you have got an SSL certificate, it gives you an HTTPS in front of your domain name. So if anybody is typing without the HTTPS, if he's just typing HTTP and then their domain name, does your domain or does the website still open up? Does it open up with what type of redirection? We also look into that because these are all looked in the SEO part, because Google treats the non-secure version and the secure version differently. It also treats domains differently. So if you have written www dot and then you're starting your domain name, and it will also try without the www. So if you're typing sepalika.com or www.sepalika.com, it will index those two separately and will start treating them separately. So in this technical issue, what we do is we create only one synergy or one single website as the main goal. Then
so there's a question, Tejas, on is redirection similar to using Bitly?
No. Bitly is shortening a URL. Yes, Bitly uses a redirection part, but Bitly is or all these URL shorteners. They are using redirection, but they're not indexed. I won't find them under Google indexing. Remember this. We are talking about how well your website is redirecting within itself and things like that, issues. And these are indexed. So we look at whether the site links are being indexed. You'll never find a Bitly link indexed very high because there's no content in it and relevancy. Then we look at 404 errors, which are basically if someone tries to search or there's some problem with any link that has moved and it hits a 404 error, then it's always a bad thing. So it's a page that is indexed on Google and it's ranking, and someone clicks on it and the article is not found on your page. So that's a bad issue to have. So Google would start penalizing if you have too many. So it would think that your website has been deleted, or your domain has moved, or you haven't paid your domain dues, which is basically we are doing a year on year purchase of the particular domain. So the moment Google sees a 404 errors and it keeps on checking for 6 months, if those things are not looked after, then it starts removing that particular website out, or website links out, pages. And how your URL structures are SEO optimized and all that. So I'll just run through very quickly what content analysis is, but you need to have an outside perspective. You need to see whether your content is useful, informative, unique. Is it better than the competitors? Is it engaging? So these are all very specific to a particular area, but these are the answers that you need to, or these are the questions that you need to have answers for when you're doing the content analysis. Grammar, spelling mistakes, broken links, whether you're writing for an English speaking audience, but if it's a US based, then the spellings have to be, and the grammar has to be more relevant towards them. Then are the links broken? Do you have excessive ads? Some people tend to have too many ads and it completely is going off the SEO also. Then there are certain user experience parameters to look out for. Bounce rate is like if a person has clicked onto the link and has come to my website, how long did the user stay on my website? If I open up a link and the moment I see, yeah, this is not what I was looking for, and I close the browser, Google sees that as a bounce rate. It starts seeing that maybe the user didn't spend so much time on this website, so this page is not relevant to show. So that comes into picture. Then you have goal competitions, whether it's a sale as a goal, those things you'll have to look into. Exit pages, on which pages do people go out, like which was the breaking deal for the user, why didn't the sale happen? We tend to analyze that. Return visitors, how many people are visiting my website after 3 months, 6 months, and what is the quality of visitors that I have. Branded searches are with the name of the website coming in there, or name of the brand, and then searching for it. Then like for example, like Acer laptop it's a branded search. Then the social signals come into picture, and I've already shown you this. These are some of the things that you can use, like answer the public, which helps you to find out the keywords and help you in writing and creating your own quality content. And the other thing which we use is Google Trends. So for example, now if I tend to go to Google and I click on Diwali as a thing, then what is the relevant thing, what people look out for? So I could write about Rangoli, since that's more relevant towards this Diwali festival, and it will automatically bring in the organic traffic for people who are searching for maybe Diwali greetings, Diwali, things like that. And other festivals also can be written about it there. So these are some tools, and I'll take up some questions now and go much more in depth and more critical to whatever your queries are.
Thanks so much, Tejas. Super useful. I'm just going to ask a few questions that had come on the chat box.
Sure.
One is a few people asked on backlinks. How do you create backlinks? So if you can just give them, answer that one, please.
So backlinks are the links which are outside your domain, basically which are outside your website. So it could be another domain on which you can have a backlink towards your website. So it's a link which links back to your own article. So if I've written an article for, let's say, a mango, then this mango article link or the URL part of it, I'll copy that. And let's say I go to Wikipedia and I submit it there, or I could write into a Q&A like forum, like I can go to Quora and start answering which is the best place to buy mangoes online. And I answer that question with a link to my website. So that's how you're getting backlinks. So it's a process, it's a timely process which you do. Backlinks are also there on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram it's not there, but on Facebook and on Twitter and on LinkedIn, you can link it back to your website. So these are all relevant backlinks.
And backlinks can also be paid ones. So you request somebody to give you a backlink and you pay them for it. Why are they doing it? It's a source of revenue for them. But I think the most important is before you give anybody a backlink, please check their domain authority, and it should not be lower than your DA. Then there's no point, they will suck out of you rather than you getting anything from them.
Yeah, and always look for relevant people around. Like if you're there in finance domain, look for other finance related websites that are there and try to get backlinks from them. And always remember higher ones, which are like Wikipedia, LinkedIn, Facebook. The value over there is much higher. So any user doing the number of links that you have, backlinks from these relevant websites is more useful as compared to having from 10 smaller websites which actually get only less than 100 traffic a month. So traffic on those websites also is very important.
Yeah, they just go back to somebody who wants to see the previous slide. So just hold to
Okay,
the slide.
like
that's it. The other question, Tejas, was how long does one have to wait to see if your SEO strategy was successful?
okay, how long? So I would always have it shorter, like have a 6 months target, but audit it every 3 months. You can have a year-on-year target also, that I want to see what my result is going to be at the end of the year, but have 3-month order or quarterly audit, like audits on how well your website is doing. Are there any back, or whether you've lost certain keyword ranking positions, those things.
Yeah.
That
Okay. There was another question. How does it cost to get a backlink? So Anjali, usually the way SEO works is usually there are two kinds of projects. One is a one-off SEO, which is one-time SEO rather, which is all the basics that Tejas mentioned, which is the foundation has to be right, which is to see for page loading speed, are there any technical issues, are there any broken links, your alt image tags, all of this is basic SEO, which is a one-time SEO. Backlinks usually will happen if you want to pay for it as a part of an ongoing SEO project. And usually it is within the scope of that. So the ongoing is you're constantly doing work on your keyword research, optimizing for the your articles for those keywords, and doing backlinks. Correct, Tejas?
yeah.
So, Sharda, my question was very specific to what you had mentioned, that you can sometimes pay certain websites
Okay.
to
Like,
host the backlink. So, typically, how much do these websites charge is what I'm trying to get a sense of.
so it depends on those websites that they're looking out for. To throw you some ballpark figures,
Mm-hmm.
when we were trying to do some basically target designers so that they come to us as a
Mm-hmm.
service for creating websites and things like that, when we would be the technical person. So we looked at other designer websites and we get quotes for them. So they tell us that we can put your link in this article at the start for
Mm-hmm.
something like $100, or they can charge you $500 if they actually have good, like millions of visitors coming onto the website, like Medium and all. They have certain paid categories also. You can partner with them that your website will be shown as a brand below them. So there are
Okay.
different costs around which other, which links gets you credible backlink.
Okay. So, but in terms of ballpark numbers, $100 to $500 is a.
Yeah, it can be as less as $10 also. It just depends upon how
It
much.
depends on how much visibility they have and what's the traffic on their website. Right? No, I just wanted to get a sense of the numbers.
Yeah,
That's.
and
Thank
it's a
you.
month on month thing. Remember, it is not a one-time cost. At
Yeah.
certain things, it could be contractual that every month you'll pay them this much, and this is the amount of traffic that will come to you. So you also need to check in Google Analytics from which sources the users come in, and
Mm-hmm.
what is the numbers and how quality they are. If they are actually serving your purpose, then only do it. So just to give you a context, there are a lot of these influencers that I've met over the last 3-4 years. These Instagram influencers who tell that we'll do this for you, we'll spotlight for you, and charge you 10,000, 20,000, 40,000, 50,000, 1 lakh for one thing like the post. But always check after that thing has happened, how many people visited your website, how many people made a purchase or not. So that impact measurable should be there. Don't blindly spend on getting
And
back.
on a similar note, then I can also charge people for that.
Yes, you can.
Oh, yeah.
If you have
Yeah.
ranking things, then you can charge people for that. You can open up a service that will index you, which is what Just Dial does. It charges you money so that it can rank you for that particular location higher, and that is 15,000 to just do it month on month, And certain restaurants on Zomato and all, they pay as much as 5 lakhs, 1 lakh, depending upon which all keywords and which all areas they want to rank.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Tejas, another question was, how do you check for cannibalization of keywords?
Okay. For cannibalization, one thing what you can do is what we call it as a branded search. Uh, Let me try that out. So branded search is you would write site in front, and then you would write what website you're looking for. So for example, I have many articles written on PHP. So branded search is with my domain name, I would search for PHP. So it will show me which all pages are there which are coming from other websites and all. It will only show me one link from one website. Remember this. Or maybe two links in this case, but majority of it are going to be different links that are relevant around. It will also try to show in other things that are there. But if you do write site in front, and then you write which site you're looking out for, site and then colon and the domain name, it will tell you, it will show you all the indexed pages which are there with having that domain in place. Yeah, and then search term. Okay, so we'll do site colon the domain name that I'm looking for, and then the search term, which is PHP in this case. So it'll show me all the links of PHP related articles which are there. The one which is coming on top will always be higher, and these are other links which are cannibalizing it. So I have two articles which are written on. One is learn how to use PHP and develop. So this is a sales page that I have. The other one is a free course that I have put in. So these are cannibalizing, and the third article which is being pushed down is the 32 best principles of PHP. So this is how you know which articles are being cannibalized by which article and how they are being indexed by Google.
Yeah, that's it. Seems like that's the list of questions I have. If is there any, looks like there are no more questions.
Sure.
What's the best tool for keyword planning?
It just depends upon your budget and how friendly you are with that particular tool and software. There isn't any written thing. For free, you can do it using Google Search Console, which I've shown you, the uh, Google Analytics. That's another software and tool. And the new one which has come out is Clarity by Microsoft. That is again free. So these are some free tools. And if you want to go for paid versions, then there is SEMrush, there is Moz.com, and there are many others which are like Rank Page and many others which are there. It depends on which one is fitting your budget and which one actually is working and to your style and to your usage. So it's just a preference thing.
Yeah. So there's a question, how do you approach others for backlinks? It's a very painstaking process, Geeta. You have to just constantly write to them with obviously a very nicely worded email. And remember that the bigger guys will be getting hundreds and thousands of daily backlink requests. So usually it will be better to start with the smaller guys, but it's just, I would say that you have to have somebody in your team doing this. It's just manual, and you just keep writing to multiple hundreds of websites before even one decides to respond.
Yeah, so usually what we do is we have interns, we would have some lower grade resource going to forums on Apple, on Dell, and things like that. If it's a technical product that I want to sell, I'll be going to those relevant places and start putting my links and answering questions on those forums. On different Twitter things, I'll start looking at if someone is looking for it for a thing to buy, I'll answer it with a link to my. So these are manual processes which are there.
Yeah, so for Geeta, she does natural products. So you'll have to go on to whether it's Quora, health websites, where you're going and answering these questions and then asking, you're requesting for backlinks, right? Yeah. Can SEO be done for Facebook?
You can, yeah, it does rank. You can within Facebook also, when you're searching for certain products or you can search something, there is an SEO involved in it, but it's not called SEO since it's not a Google based search engine type. but Facebook has its own way of indexing pages. It categorizes. So basically, it will show you things that are from your post. It will then show you from your friends post, then your friends post, and all those things. You can do sales pitches on Facebook, which can be searched, but nobody's searching on Facebook. Remember that thing.
No, I just wanted to understand, does Google rank Facebook pages?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It does. Yeah, it does.
It ranks Facebook pages, it ranks YouTube videos, which I realized, when we were originally doing SEO, I thought it's just going to rank my, websites, content websites. Then I figured this damn thing is throwing up YouTube videos and FB pages for certain search terms. So yes. So it's important that you use the same keyword when you create your Facebook content, the relevant keyword.
So Google is indexing everything which is there on the internet. The only thing is how it ranks it up is based upon how relevant to the user.
Yeah. So two interesting questions, Tejas. One is SEO for non-profits.
Yeah.
Will it be any different? And the other one is SEO for premium products.
Okay. So SEO doesn't have like one thing that fits for all. It changes from domain to domain. It changes from the category that we are in. It changes based upon the competition that we face. The SEO strategies are different for all of them. So the two sectors which face the most problem are your health and your money. These two sectors, which are basically whenever you're talking about finance, and if you're there in sector of health, you're going to find it very difficult to rank. And also Google has very strict policies. But even over there, there's a shortcut to do that, or a basic guideline which Google has laid out, and it terms it as EAT. It's very easy to remember as EAT. So E stands for expertise. So you bring in expertise into that particular domain or that particular sector. Then you show that you have authoritative people, which is the A is for authoritative parts. That is, you have so if it's a finance related thing, then I would have certain speakers and credible people who have been holding positions in financial institutions and things like that, who have finance people. So I'll bring those things. If it's a healthcare thing, then I would have doctors on my panel. Then from where did they pass would also be important. Like this particular person is a doctorate from this particular school or college. And those things would also come into picture for authoritative part. So I'll put that onto my page. And the last one is the basic technical part and all those things to be in picture.
Yeah, but even for NGO, Sukhi, you have to have SEO work done because you're obviously trying to rank. You want people, you're either looking for people to fund you or you're looking for potential investment opportunities. So the principles of what Tejas outlined on page and off page will remain the same. However, you may not have very commercial, interest, but you're still wanting people to come and donate. So there is a certain commercial angle involved. So I don't think there's any different from even whether it's for NGO or even premium products. No, Tejas, there is no
no difference. And in fact, think about it like this: like, why do we open up shops, like physical shops? Think about them from that perspective. I would like to open up a store in front of railway station, or I'll like to open it on the main road, on where the visibility, where people can see my branding that I've done on the roadside, walk in, do purchases. Because these are more relevant. If I do it on a fifth floor, the branding part and not seen by people, it's somewhere in corner. So SEO helps you in that visibility. So whatever money you're spending, think about it as a rent monthly cost that you do for actual thing, but you are doing it in a virtual space. And the best part about Google SEO thing is you're doing it for the entire world. You're not doing for a physical location at one place. So SEO is good for everyone and works out. The only thing is you should work according to their guidelines. If you're doing black hat SEO things and all, you will rank today. The moment there's a small change in the SEO algorithm by Google, you crash out.
Yeah. And for premium, Kasturi, the answer is the principles are remaining the same. Your search volume may be slightly lower because obviously there's a smaller set of audience or more discerning audience, what you would call searching for your term. However, in terms of the principles that you still want to rank for that few people who are searching. You still have to put in these principles. Your set of your competitor set will be different. So for you, for example, you may not even look at brands which are sitting on Amazon and let's say Flipkart or some of those sites. You may look at Nykaa Lux, or you may look at some of other sites. But using the same principles of what Tejas just outlined, which is doing work on page as well as off page, the content creation. Actually, in your case, content creation will be very important because for premium brands, we often look for word of mouth. We often look for people to, like equivalent of people who will approve our brand. So it's not just ads. So content will be very, very critical.
Right, and that bit we understood, and we're working on that. The thing I was told is that even if it's a long tail keyword, like say whatever natural skincare, very few people will be probably typing premium natural skincare. So how do we, like, for something like that? Finally, we're selling natural skincare, so the high volume searches will always be for mass brands. So we'll probably find it tougher to show up.
Yeah, but we still have that opportunity that, so for example, skincare, the type of skin, the color of the skin, I can write and try to rank for that. So I could be
Right.
skincare for dry skin products, which could be there. And I could do it on cost wise, I can do it quality
Yeah,
wise.
it's just that the category is so wide that the first searches will always, I'm guessing, show.
But there is a good chance that I can see a missed opportunity there, which could be answering a particular question, which could be putting my product into that place. So all these
Right.
big brands, they're targeting and they're fighting at multiple levels. Remember that. So there'll always be gaps in their SEO strategies. You will always find places, and that's the SEO strategy content part, that you need to find and identify those 10-20 keywords where you can actually rank on those particular things, and then you get the juices from there, and over a period of time you will find that you start ranking even higher than those brands. So
Got
when
it.
I did an SEO part, so I had to rank, and my pages ranked higher than the Mango brand, which is selling
Right.
all premium products and all. For if you type in buy Alfonso mangoes or even buy mangoes, my website was ranking much higher than them. So it is possible over efforts. It didn't happen the very first year, it happened after 2 years. So yes, it's a slow process, but once you get it, it's beautiful to, it's for free.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thanks, Katsal.
Great. We are done. Thank you so much, Tejas, for sharing all this information with us. I know a lot of people have asked for this recording. I'm
Yes.
going to leave Tejas's email ID on the group, and you can connect with Tejas directly, and he will share this with you.
Yes, and I've also mailed everyone today around 11. If that's not there, you just search with the very same topic, that is Understanding SEO by Tejas Hoskatti. It will be indexed by Google and searchable everywhere on YouTube and Facebook everywhere. Don't worry.
Thank you. Thanks, Tejas. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you,
Hope
guys.
it's useful. Bye-bye.
Sure. Bye.